wasn't there.
So when I laid on that sidewalk, I knew that I wasn't happy with my life, and I knew I had to do something different. And so I spend my whole life, even as I stand here today, reinventing myself, figuring out how to become something different, how to change the packaging and how to change the inside and how I market it. And so I decided that when I went to high school after that moment, that I was going to try to be cooler and hipper and more in shape. I was more in shape, but I definitely wasn't cooler, and I struggled. And then I decided, well, I'm not doing really well in Miami, which is where I grew up. So I think I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to go somewhere that's not as exactly close to home. I'll go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is the same as Miami. The weather's a little different, and I'll be the cool tan guy from Miami. I was like, this is easy. I'm tan. I can fake like I'm cool. Nobody in Milwaukee knows me. Start over. For about a week, I was still tan. For about a day, I was still cool. And at the end of the day, I was just myself again. And I became so uncomfortable with it that I said, I have these constant failures. I struggle in elementary school. I struggle in high school. I struggle in college. The common denominator is me, I think. And when people tell you that you suck, you start to believe it. Like, well, maybe I am kind of a pain in the ass and a loser. I had this one tipping point moment, and then I'll get on to some business. Senior year, I go to the registrar's office to register for classes, and the registrar's office tells me that I forgot to take a language my freshman year. It's like, oh man, it's senior year. I was thinking I was going to coast, and they said, well, the only option you have is to take advanced Spanish at 8 o'clock in the morning for 1 hour, 5 days a week, for the entire year. At the time, I had run for student body president 3 times at Marquette. I lost 3 times. But I built this relationship with the university president. And at the time, Marquette's downtown Milwaukee, there's a road running through it. And they were trying to close down the road. And so I had volunteered about 8 months earlier to help the university with the city in being the student advocate for getting the road closed. And we were all preparing for the start of this hearing with the city of Milwaukee. And so I go to the registrar's office. They tell me about this class. And I decided that morning walking to class that I was going to try something different. I walked into the Spanish class, and I said to the Spanish teacher, can I see you outside for just a minute? Let me see you outside. And we go outside, and she says to me, yes, what can I do for you? I said, let me tell you how this is going to work. You're going to pass me, and then I'm going to get you tenure. And she looked at me and she said, I don't know who the hell you think you are. You go inside and sit your ass down. And I said, okay, my offer, it's my best offer. Like, it's not going to get any better. I went back and sat down, and after class, I realized that I had a problem. So I walked over to the president's office. I knocked on his door, and I said, it's a religious school, so his father, and I never like to lie to priests except this one instance. And I said, Father DiIulio, I have a small problem. I'm not going to be able to help you. I know you spent tens of millions of dollars, and I know that you were counting on me to convince the mayor to shut the road down. I just can't do it. Well, why not? Well, here's the thing. I have Spanish class every day at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you know that I have to study for hours the night before, and I have to get up early, and I'm just not going to be able to participate in any of your meetings. He said, well, that's going to be a huge problem. I mean, we're going to lose like $20 million. I said, I know. I said, you may get a phone call later from this Spanish professor that I had. I was trying to help, and I was trying to broker a deal. And the deal was that you would give her tenure, and I would pass the class, which would allow me to help you with the university stuff. And he looked at me and he said, holy shit. I'm not, and I said, are you mad, or are you trying to figure out how you're going to do it? Which one is it? So he figured it out, and I walked out of his office, and this was the moment. This is no BS. This was the moment that I knew my life could be different. I walked out of the office, and there was a mirror. This sounds totally vain. There was a mirror, and I literally looked at myself, and I winked. I winked at myself. Like it was, no, but it was like, I felt like, This is important, though. I really felt like in that moment, after years of eating disorders and not having friends and struggling with life and feeling like I didn't belong and all the crazy thoughts that go on in your head, it was like, I was like, hey, we figured it out. My mother, when she heard that story, wasn't crazy about it, but in that moment, I realized that I was able to bring people together. I was able to be a common denominator, and I was able to do it with relationships and rapport and a little bit of leverage, which is always good in business. And from that day on, I knew that my responsibility in life was to use my talent. I was kind of a good bullshitter in that moment. And as I got older, I realized that the BS can only get you so far. If you can take the substance and you can take good character and you can mix it in with the ability to persuade people, to convince people, to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be whatever it is, that you actually have this recipe.